have accidentally bought over 30 new horror books. So here's my unhinged spooky book haul with a side of pumpkin spice. The Dead Husband Cookbook by Danielle Valentine. This is a thriller about a woman who may or may not be involved in the death of her husband, and then may or may not have written a cookbook about it. This is part culinary horror, part revenge fantasy, and definitely a reason not to eat at every potluck. The Possession of Alba Diaz by Isabel Cañas. This is a brand new Gothic horror, and I am so excited about it. The Possession of Alba Diaz is set in 1950s Mexico and follows a young woman battling what may be demonic possession or trauma or both. If you like religious horror with a historical twist, this is giving The Exorcist meets Mexican Gothic, and I'm very excited to read this one. Summer Suns by Lee Mandello. Summer Suns is about a guy grieving the mysterious death of his best friend and getting tangled in Southern Gothic vibes, academic conspiracies, and ghosts. I've heard that this is a very atmospheric book that plunges the reader into the deep, delicious rot of summer turning into fall. The Perfect Son by Frida McFadden. This one follows a mother whose golden boy teenage son is arrested for murder, and suddenly the perfect family image starts to shatter. As the police dig deeper, long buried secrets come to light, as she starts to question how well does she really know her own son. It's fast-paced, addictive, and full of those signature McFadden twists that make you just want to read one more chapter at 3 a.m. Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney. Amber is in a coma, but she can hear absolutely everything around her. Alice Feeney really puts the unreliable in unreliable narrator that may even make you question your own sanity. Year of Wonders by Geraldine Brooks. Now this is not technically horror, but what's more terrifying than the plague? This is a historical fiction about a 1600s village that voluntarily quarantines to stop the spread of the Black Death. This one is perfect for history enthusiasts as well as fans of one of my favorite films, The Witch. Unwind by Neal Shusterman. Remember when we all thought The Hunger Games was dark? That was nothing compared to Unwind. Imagine a future where abortion is illegal, but teens can be retroactively unwound, i.e. harvested for their organs without their consent. Yeah. YA dystopia really says, let's traumatize everybody sometimes. Unwind follows 3 teens on the run, and it is equal parts terrifying and thought-provoking. Organ harvesting teens because society got bored of ethics? Now that is true nightmare fuel. The Project by Courtney Summers. Cults? Check. Mystery? Check. Deep emotional trauma and sister dynamics that will absolutely break you? Also check. The Project is about a journalist trying to uncover the truth about a mysterious cult that may have brainwashed her sister. It's gritty, devastating, and deeply emotional. There's nothing more I like than a cult story, so I'm actually reading this one right now. Monstrillo by Gerardo Samano Cordova. A grieving mother takes a part of her dead son, grows it into a monster, raises it like a child, and then it gets weird. Monstrillo is part grief horror, part creature feature, and a whole lot of shock. This book sounds like Frankenstein and Pet Sematary, but even more emotionally devastating. She's Not Sorry by Mary Kubica. A nurse gets tangled in a case involving a patient who supposedly jumped off a bridge, but something doesn't add up. And then the secrets start unraveling. Kubica delivers twist after twist, and I have really enjoyed some of her other books, so I'm very excited to read this one. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This is the OG duality of man horror classic. Dr. Jekyll is a proper man of science trying to suppress his dark urges. And Mr. Hyde is those dark urges with a top hat. It's short, creepy, and surprisingly relevant. Basically, if your toxic ex was a novella, it'd be this. The Farmhouse by Chelsea Conrad. A group of friends stay at a remote farmhouse. Red flag number 1. One of them disappears. Red flag number 2. Creepy happenings, dark secrets, and the realization that nobody really knows each other. That's basically the horror trifecta. We Live Here Now by Sarah Pinborough. This is basically if The Haunting of Hill House and A Mental Breakdown had a literary baby. This is a moody, strange, unreliable narration about grief, broken families, and a weird town. But I always enjoy a slow burn descent into madness. The Butcher's Daughter. I believe that this is a retelling of the classic story of Sweeney Todd. It's grotesque, haunting, and sometimes feels like reading a fever dream. I am particularly excited to read this one. The Ghost Writer by Julie Clark. This is not a ghost story. It's a twisty thriller about a famous author who hires a ghost writer to help her finish her final book, which also happens to be a confession. There's drama, secrets, plot twists, and meta goodness. This thriller blurs the line between fact and fiction. Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell. The title, a warning. The plot, a spiraling nightmare. This is classic Lisa Jewell territory. Troubled families, strangers with dark pasts, and a slow burn buildup to utter psychological chaos. If you like domestic noir with high anxiety, this one is sure to keep you up at night. I've been told it's a good read for fans of the book You, which is one of my all-time favorite novels. Tradwife's Secret by Leanne Childs. Do you like a side of dark satire with your Stepford wife aesthetic? The Tradwife's Secret is part thriller, part social commentary, and all kinds of unhinged. We're talking women who are a little too perfect, communities that are a little too clean, and secrets that are way too sinister. This is a good read for anyone who's seen a perfectly curated Pinterest page and thought, there's definitely a body in that basement. Just me? Everyone is Lying to You by Jo Piazza. This is suburban paranoia in a book. Nosy neighbors, social media sleuths, and so many unreliable narrators, you'll start doubting your own memories. Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. This is about a girl who thinks she's an alien and grows up in a world that doesn't make sense to her. There's abuse, isolation, and horror, both emotional and visceral. I have heard that Earthlings is bizarre, disturbing, and completely unforgettable. Nosferatu by Joe Hill. I feel like the author said, let's make Christmas absolutely horrifying. Nosferatu is about a man who kidnaps children and takes them to a place called Christmas Land, which is somehow even worse than it sounds. This is an eerie epic with very twisted holiday vibes. Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. This book would be the result of a Gothic thriller meeting a real estate nightmare. A broke girl gets offered an apartment sitting position in a fancy Manhattan building. Sounds great, right? Until people start disappearing. The building has secrets, and this book has twists for days. Something in the Walls by Daisy Pierce. This book follows a woman who investigates a childhood home after tragedy and starts noticing noises, whispers, and things in the walls. It's creepy, claustrophobic, and perfect for fans of psychological hauntings. Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose. Siblings reunite after their mother passes away, only to discover a VCR tape that suggests she may have been involved in a murder. Naturally, chaos ensues, secrets unravel, and you'll never look at family gatherings the same way again. The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchinson. Trigger warnings galore for this one. This is about a serial killer who keeps girls captive in a greenhouse and tattoos butterfly designs on their backs. It is dark, it is disturbing, and I cannot stress enough the trigger warnings needed for this one. Pen Pal by Dathan Auerbach. If you've ever gone down a Reddit horror story rabbit hole at 2 a.m., like me, then you will probably love Pen Pal. This is a fully fleshed out novel version, and it is terrifying. Told through non-linear childhood memories, it slowly builds a story of obsession, loss, and something sinister that's been watching for many years. Fans of creepypasta may really like this one. At Dark, I Become Loathsome by Eric LaRocca. This is a very deep exploration on grief. It's about identity, transformation, and a loneliness so raw that it becomes monstrous. The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux. Ghosts? Yes. Obsession? Absolutely. Opera? Weirdly a lot. The Phantom of the Opera is a moody, melodramatic, perfect read for spooky season. This classic Gothic horror story unravels the many secrets in the Paris Opera House. I actually recently read and discussed this on my channel, which I'll link below. Mapping the Interior by Stephen Graham Jones. This novella is small but very mighty. It's about an indigenous teen who sees the ghost of his father and then realizes there's much more going on than just his memories. It's lyrical, sad, and full of slow-building horror that stays with you like a shadow on the wall. I have had mixed thoughts about this author's stories, but I will say that I thoroughly enjoyed this one. The Return by Rachel Harrison. Your best friend disappears. A year later, she comes back, but she's just wrong. That is the premise of The Return. It delivers a girl group weekend gone wrong, a hotel with uncanny valley vibes, and a creeping dread that explodes into full horror. Think Sex and the City gone horror tale. And last up that I bought, What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. Short, creepy, and deeply fungal. This one's a reimagining of Poe's Fall of the House of Usher. Former soldier Alex visits an old friend's decaying estate and finds that something is growing. This classic Poe retelling is beautifully grotesque and wildly imaginative. I also have the sequel, What Feasts the Night, which is equally as entertaining. Now, if you enjoyed this haunted little haul, check out this video for even more bookish mischief. Until next time, stay cozy, stay creepy, and remember, some stories don't like being left unfinished.